What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mr. Straight Facts Show. I'm going to start off with saying, didn't I tell you Donald Trump was going to break down the economy and then try and take credit after he broke it down? But I said he's going to fuck up the economy and then he's going to take credit for the comeback after his fuck up. The economy was much better than it is now, even though we got to the 40,000 mark. We were doing better before he came into office. We've been on a constant decline since he came in, right? But everybody thought he was going to do right by us, but he did not. And so Donald Trump has been all over the place, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, about what he's going to do. Remember when he first started it, he said that he was not going to change. These are the things, in which it's going to be, because we've been ripped off for so long, it's going to be where it is. Now, you could say that he was being strategic. I'll give it to him. I don't think he's that bright, but let's just give it to him. He was being strategic. But he didn't understand what was going on with our economy. He didn't understand that we were going toward a recession until billionaires started telling them. I think the billionaires kind of stood back a little while and thought that he knew what he was talking about for a minute. And then when it crashed the second day, they were like, wait a minute. Then the third day, by the end of the second day, they putting in calls behind the scenes. Third day, whatever, they're still like, what's going on? It's not happening, right? Whatever we planned on doing before, it's not happening. Now, we also know that Donald Trump and his minions saw that somebody out there, I don't know who it is, could have been Trump and his people, I don't know who it is, put out a fake a fake tweet saying that Donald Trump had decided to let go of the tariffs and pause it for a while. And they saw how the economy shot up, right? We all saw that. And then Donald Trump sent out a tweet earlier today around 9 something in the morning, 9:37, I believe. And he said, basically, it's about time to buy in. I would buy in right now, with his initials, DJT. Buy in right now, type of thing. Well, some people actually took that literally. Rude in the planet, Janet. Some people took that literally. When he said, buy in right now, other people out there that you may not know of actually did said thing. They bought in right when he asked them to. Well, the day that he asked them to. It's just strange that on April 9th today, somebody went from, investing like $7 million into so much stock that it shot up to $22 million today. Somebody did that today. Right? And I know there's many other Trump people that took advantage of this because they knew it was about to jump. And they just couldn't help themselves because they're so greedy to be able to go out and buy a crap ton of stocks because this man had made a decision to do this because of what? Because these billionaires got to him. Scott Besson said he spoke to him this past weekend, knowing he had spoken to his billionaire friends. And he spoke to Donald Trump. And then the next thing you know, Donald Trump lets go of this tariff situation. But here is one. Hey, Mark. Here is one of the situations right here. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Look how she had $7 million or so in actual assets to some trade volume. And she has now worth of $22 million. 378 total trades. Last traded on April 4th. She didn't know Donald Trump was going to do these things. That this was a situation which Donald Trump decided, I'm going to play with this, destroy it until a point where it's going to hurt Americans. But if you get in, like Donald Trump said today, he knew at 9 something this morning that he was about to let up and that the stocks were going to go up. Why? Because that test run, whoever that test run was, that literally sent out that text that said on Twitter that said Donald Trump decided to relax on these tariffs. And then all of a sudden, it's crazy how today that fake tweet became a real reality on Truth. He did exactly what that thing said he was going to do. And it wasn't him, he says. And then, boom, it shot up just like the practice run did. Toying with the economy. Recognizing that all he has to do is let off the chokehold, take your pressure off around the neck of the economy, boom, the blood flows, the cash flows. So every billionaire, millionaire, people who had a lot of money that put into the economy and made a boom, and if they knew Donald Trump, connected to Donald Trump, needs to be investigated. Because there is no doubt in my mind they played this to the hilt on purpose. They're still not done, though. They said 90 days. But you see Marjorie Taylor Greene. Every one of us knows Marjorie Taylor Greene is not that smart. We all know that. Her and Boebert in there saying some of the most craziest things on the planet. This is the same woman that believed in Jewish space lasers. And you think she makes great deals? Come on. Give me a break. That's not even a reality. I mean, I don't care what you say. I would never believe if they told me there's some white space lasers out there. I'm like, yo, man, go into a padded room for about a couple weeks and then come out and feeling fresh and anew. Something's on you. Something's stressing you, because ain't nobody believing in a laser shooting down white people shit or Jewish people shit. What was the laser doing? She believed that in her soul so much she was attacking people over it. She was getting up in people's faces talking about it before she got into office. I mean, some bat shit crazy stuff. And you telling me she's just a genius on stocks? No, she knew exactly the game plan for the Republicans. She knew the game plan what Donald Trump was doing and that he was going to let up. It was just a matter of time. But it's still a game plan. It's still not over. 90 days? Come on. 90 days. I don't believe, as far as I could throw that woman, I do not believe that that's going to be the end of it. Donald Trump is going to still try and put pressure because, again, now he knows just the way he acts controls the market. So if he wants it to go down, act erratic, buy more stock, and then let go. Make millionaires and billionaires. After he left there, he went and signed a bunch of executive orders. And in his executive orders, I don't understand how you can have an executive order to investigate people just because they didn't agree with you. Just because they realized you're batshit crazy. And they had to let somebody know. I thought there's such thing as whistleblower situation here. This man is going after two men that I think one's named Matt Taylor, and I can't remember the other guy's name on the top of my head right now. But both of them did absolutely nothing. But he's saying the one that actually told information about, to people and saying, hey, look, Donald Trump's about to do this. Y'all need to say something, because if you don't, he's going to mess up something. And he ratted on him so that Donald Trump wouldn't do the egregious things. If anything, this dude, to me, deserves a medal. That he literally risked everything so that we wouldn't lose anything. I appreciate that guy. I applaud him. But all this man did was let go of the chokehold he had on everybody. Hello? That wasn't the economy acting on its own the way the economy is supposed to work. You're supposed to let the economy work on its own. You're never supposed to tamper with it. And the thing that kills me is that Donald Trump would say, nobody else had the guts to do what I did. Nobody had the ability in their mind to think of, let me fuck with the actual, the country's finances and wealth for my own pleasure. Nobody had that in their thought processes. Nobody said, oh, well, let me just go and mess with a market that's supposed to be something that that we decide based on supply and demand, based on what we think is a good product and that should sell, based on whether a CEO or somebody just got an influx of money and cash and they're about to create a new product that they think everybody wants. Let the market take care of the market. No, we had a man for the first time that I can think of in American history putting his thumb on the markets, or his whole hands around the market, choking it on his own, choking the life out of it for his own pleasure, and lying to everybody that he was going to get some kind of great grand deals for us, letting them think that tariffs was going to make our lives better. How? It's a tax on us. Businesses coming out of the woodwork, losing their businesses. Furniture companies going out of business. They've got stuff still out there, the cargo out there on ships, because they're not going to pay for them, because even the 10% for some and 25% for others, it was way too high for them to be able to make profit on their product. So they owe tens of thousands of dollars for these shipments that they can't take because they can't afford them. That is what our president did to American citizens. And because he let his hands off of it, because billionaires finally came up and told him, yo, I understand you don't care about the little people, but that's just hurting us. And we're going to stop putting money in your coffers if you keep fucking with me. And Donald Trump backed the hell off. It was them that got him to stop. He didn't give a shit about us. But then he put on 125% tariff on China. I want you guys to do me a hot favor. Go look at one product in your home. Now, before, when I was a kid, and when I was like little, and even like after the war, stuff like that, my grandfather, stuff like that, and even my mom's era, you used to be able to, if you had a little red trike or bike or whatever the heck it was, whatever color it may be, it would say made in Japan, right? And then in my era of growing up, and I would say probably in my late teens, early 20s, everything started saying China. So much so that my kids, when they were little, they're like 20 and 25 now. When they were little, they used to run around the house. And it was just an epiphany for them. They would look around and they pick up something like, made in China. And they go around the whole house. And my kids, they were just mathematical, like they love math and percentages and all the different things. They love that. So they ran around and said, Dad, do you know that like 90% of the stuff in this house is made in China? I'm like, I absolutely did not. He said, clothes, your armoire, this, that, and the third, all made in China. I said, I didn't know that. I didn't even take it into account. I'm just like, your mom liked it, you like it, I like it, we got it. That was it. But it was true. From Japan, when my mom and myself were little, when I was little, that's where it was, to China from the time that I became a teen or in my 20s, all the way for my kids who were babies and now in their 20s. It was China. You ask yourself, why was that? Why did we have a jump from Japan to China being the massive amount of people producing for this country? Because this country wanted to make profit, right? And Japan made some gambles on their own that didn't work out, so their production went down. China, on the other hand, took over and had these different trade deals, and therefore became a huge manufacturer for the world, not just the United States, for the entire world. And the United States was a part of that. So why are we acting like they've been ripping us off for so long? It's like, yo, we made it so that they could rip us off. But you're out here acting like you wouldn't have took that opportunity, America. If China was pushing on us products and they were more expensive to make there and we can make it cheaper here, you wouldn't do the same things? Are you telling me that you would not the greediest country, I believe, in the entire world wouldn't have took that opportunity to make the product for like here and have them spend a lot of money and stuff like that for it, or little money for it, and we have all of these products and we've been a manufacturer. You think we want to do that? Of course we would. Wouldn't we have already created our own products as well so that we can make money on both ends? They expected China to only make money from us, capitulate to us, and that they were going to sit there and just be second to us. But no, China was like, forget that. We're going to make money on your end, and we're going to make money on our end. And every country did the same thing. We buy clothes in certain areas. Korea, they started creating their own products, their own technologies. Samsung, other things. They just kept doing better by their own people. There's nothing wrong with that. What Donald Trump and them or the Republicans are trying to do is saying, you guys shouldn't have took your life into your own hands. You should have came to us. You should have got, Samsung or whatever made with us. You should have did this with us. Now you guys got more than us. That's not fair. It's like, what about like you creating your own shit instead of telling me what I should be doing for my people? And that's the way this country runs. America's a huge bully. They go around telling everybody what they should and shouldn't be doing. You need to buy more beef from me. But our country doesn't eat beef. We're mostly vegetarians. I don't care. Buy beef from us. They did that to Japan. They're mostly pescatarians. Eat fish and rarely eat meat. Many, many years ago, America was like, well, you got to buy beef. For what? For what? We don't. Even the beef we do have is different than your beef, different quality than your beef. Why would we be buying a lower quality beef? Doesn't make sense. America forces it on people. Well, we're going to stop buying this from you. We're going to stop buying that from you. It's like, how about America? How about you make better beef so that they want it instead of forcing it on them because you feel that's the only thing that you have that they would probably even want to buy. That's our country. No, don't be great at what you do. Force people to take shit. Don't make beef better. No, let's just force people to take our scraps while they got better product at their own, reach. They don't have to go overseas to get better food. They have better food. Why do they need to get it from us? Oh, this is a trade. We want to make sure we trade. Then find something that's better than them, or develop something that they don't have. We're always like the cheaters, and then tell everybody else they're cheating. We're always the ones that try to renege on the deal and then tell everybody else they're not fair. You know this USMCA? USMCA had like a 6-year clause in which the parties could come back and renegotiate after 6 years to see how everything went with that USMCA. It is literally at this point in time been over a little bit over 4 years. Yet Donald Trump came in and automatically reneged on the deal that he fucking created. What do you think that says to the other countries around us? These people don't keep their fucking promises for shit. And then we had Pete Hegseth just let go of government information, which let other countries know who squealed, who was the rat. So why would a country trust us with their products or with their secrets? We show no loyalty. But we request it from everybody. Doesn't that sound like somebody? He's turning this country into Trump Jr. Trump is a person that wants loyalty from everybody but gives it to no one. And he's turning our country into a situation where we want everybody to treat us fairly while we fuck them over. Those countries are going to end up saying, which they have been, fuck America, let's go ahead and do our own thing. UK is trying to do its own thing. China's trying to do its own thing. It may look like that, putting 125% on China is going to make it somehow better to some people. No, that means if you bought something today, he said effective immediately. But let's say if you bought something yesterday, it hasn't got here yet, and it cost you $125, or let's say $100, and you paid your $100 and it's on its way. You ain't getting it unless you pay another $125. So now that thing's $225. instead of $100. Who gonna do that? For everything you buy, who's gonna do that? We pay the tariff. So it's crazy how they literally ask other countries, hey, we're going to throw some tariffs on y'all, and I don't want you to respond. Just take the tariff. Say what? Nah. You ain't going to punk us on the world stage and we just going to sit there and just take it? What the hell? You trying to be a strong man by fucking over your own people. That to me is just insane. Oh, that's Angry Ginger does a live also. All right, you gotta go. I'll see you when I see you. All right, so it's just some of the craziest things. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see any of the stuff that's going on today, but it was insane. What Donald Trump did, and this is what I'm talking about. No country can really trust anything we say. This is why I was shocked today that the markets went up. I'm like, who's buying? Who are these people that are buying right now? What's going on? Because he literally just pushed it down 90 days. So it might be worse in 90 days. So you're going to go ahead and make your money. I know people do day trading. So you're going to try and make your money within these 90 days. I get it. Greed is greed. But the idea that he let up but still had 10% tariffs across the board. Do you know the average tariff on all these different countries that we've had is around 3%? Some with 1, some with 2, some with 3, but really no more than 3%. So 10% is easily 3 times more than what they normally had to pay. So you're still going to have products go up, not like $100 or so. Depends on what it is. If it's a car, yeah, you're going to see it rise thousands of dollars. How is that still, again, put a chokehold, make everything dramatically worse, and then let up, and you can breathe again, but your windpipe's still kind of messed up. You're still breathing in, doing like that, but you're not breathing in like this. And so it's better to feel like you can barely breathe as opposed to not being able to breathe. And now all of a sudden we got a new bar. Barely being able to breathe is the new great, the new successful, barely being able to breathe. That makes 0 sense, people. But that's what he does. He breaks shit and he don't even fix it. He just stops breaking it, leaving it where it was at. And people just, they're just happy that he left them alone. But he didn't say like he was going to do that for a long time. 3 months. Now, think about this for 3 months. When Donald Trump renegotiated the NAFTA and made the USMCA, the negotiations for that took about, I don't know, the idea of having the idea of it, talking to somebody and kind of agree on it and stuff like that. That was about 3 months or so. But then the actual implementation before the signature for everything that was going on, it took about 18 months, or a year and a half. And that was 3 countries, United States, Mexico, and Canada, whom pretty much agreed on everything to begin with. NAFTA they thought was fine. They improved NAFTA in many areas with USMCA. So nobody had a problem with it. That's why you didn't see President Biden change anything, because it did improve upon NAFTA, and NAFTA was horrible. USMCA is just a little less horrible. Same situation here. They take the worst and make it a little better. It's still bad, but everybody's excited that it's not as bad as it used to be, when they could have just made it just great, and therefore you don't have to renegotiate every freaking 3-4 years. You should come up with a plan. You're grown men and women who know about economics, who know about business. You're experts. Why can't you just fix it as opposed to fuck with it every few years because you think that it's better for you in the next 3 or 4 years? The reality is this 3 months, if nobody's negotiating, it's more likely going to come back. See, Donald Trump has realized he has a power that nobody else was willing to fuck with. And that's everybody in the whole damn country's money. I can mess with it. And the Congress ain't gonna do nothing about it, even though he wasn't supposed to be able to do this without Congress' approval, but Republicans have been messing with it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have to overturn the House and the Senate as soon as we fucking can. That's 100. Because then we will have people saying, give the House and the Senate the power back from the president. The president cannot make these decisions unilaterally on his own whim. Because they were trying to come into a situation with the Republicans and try to come up with something to kind of halter this, put a stop on it. And it was in the House where Speaker Johnson was trying his best to tell them, let Trump do what he does. I mean, he fucks up everything. We need to let him do what he does. He bankrupted casinos, not one, multiple. He never had one successful casino. All 6 of them died. Bankrupt. How do you not get one of them right? After the first or second one, you're like, I should kind of like tilt it a little bit and go this direction because I was over there and I failed. How about I go this way? No, same structure, same everything. It'll work, and it all failed. So this only makes sense that he tried to work the economy because he had some weird idea in his head that I've been thinking about this since the 80s. Well, the economy has changed, bro, since the 80s. I mean, people's hairstyles are different. People buy different things, cars, clothes different. Everything's different, but this fool's still stuck in the 80s. Talking about it would have worked in the 80s. Well, what worked in the 80s is not working today, bro. Not working today. This man's talking about 40 years ago, 45 years ago. Are you out your mind? You're talking about doing stuff that you thought would have worked 45 years ago that nobody even tried back then because they didn't think it would work. And these people aren't out here flipping out. I'd be going crazy. I'm like, yo, something's wrong with him. Get him tested. None of that. Republicans, Democrats, none of them out there saying there's something wrong with this dude mentally. That he literally thought what he just tried was going to work. And no economist. This man's never been an economist. He was horrible in business school. And you can tell by his business transactions. He is a grifter. That's it. He sells the idea that he's successful. He's never been successful. The idea of it is what he makes money off of. I'm successful. I make a lot of money. By doing what? Gaslighting everybody that he's successful. Write a book about me being successful, even though I'm not. Here we go. The art of the deal. What deal? What deal? I give him credit to the USMCA being better than NAFTA. But it still sucked. For the American people, it helped out the rich. But for the American people, they say that, some of these jobs that they were here, that was going through, that people got paid anywhere between 30 to 45% more money. I don't see it anywhere, but that's what these stats say. So I'll go with the stats. And that was just in certain areas, not all. And it's probably more about the tech area than it was manufacturing. But I digress. Give people credit where credit is due. But he's talking about 3 months, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be at least a year and a half to 2 years for each and every one of these. It can't be just one. If they all came at the same time, the same day, they all had the same deal, which they're not going to have, you probably have some relief for a year and a half. Some people, he won't even be there when most of this stuff actually is enacted. And if he is, he's there for a few months, maybe 8 months or whatever, unless he tries to take over, which he is. This is what Donald Trump says what he's going to do, and he did it. He said he's going to fuck with our economy. He came in and did exactly that. He says he want to be a dictator on day one, and then he's toyed with being, president for another term and like forever. He's talked about it. If he says it, he's going to do it. Don't listen to people trying to discredit his ideology and say, oh, he's just playing. He's just messing with the libs. No, every time he says it, he tries it. Whenever he mentions something out loud, it is literally a heat check. to see if you guys would freak out or you'll just let it die. And it's not necessarily you, media, mainstream media, like, oh, they have too many people on there, especially like on CNN, Scott Jennings and all these other people. Too many people on there that literally try to blow off what he said. Oh, he's just saying stuff. When's the last time? I don't see why people don't learn and on news stations to just say to him, hey, Scott, when's the last time that he ever said something that he just didn't do? When's the last time he threatened something that he didn't try? He threatened he was going to get people back. Now he's going after Matt Taylor and another guy. I think his name is Scott something. They're going after him for what? For saying that our elections were fair? We didn't see anything. That's what the court said. But you're going to go after a man with the force of the DOJ. Now, why would the DOJ, they're supposed to be independent from anybody in the government. It's not a political organization. Wasn't until Trump came in. Why is it that the DOJ, they haven't said they're going to do it yet, but he's got an executive order for the DOJ to investigate an American citizen for what? You have no reason. Everything he mentions in his executive order, again, executive orders, y'all, should not be about investigating American citizens or law firms. It should be about our country. Like, how do we make our country a better country? Not vengeance of a president. I mean, this is so childish. A 78-year-old man that can't take anybody say anything negative about him, that he wants the full force of the law to spend our money to investigate somebody for doing absolutely nothing but being a patriot to our country and telling us the fucking truth while he wanted to lie to us. And because that person didn't lie, they're going to waste our money, our tax dollars, to go after somebody, which is going to end up being nothing if the law supports it, or it's going to end up being them actually hunting down people that don't agree with Trump and putting them in jail falsely just so they can appease Trump. That is not America. That is not democracy. They should be, if anything, the courts should be saying, we got to rescind that. That makes no sense, Trump. We can't be doing that. Supreme Court should have easily saw this and just try to knock it out the air. Just block it. Like, that's not what you use executive orders for. But no, they let this man do whatever he wants to do, like a spoiled child. The Supreme Court, the Congress, they're supposed to be like equal partners. And here they are catering to the child that can't actually do shit right. Always messing up. And they always got to come over and try and fix his stuff. Got to always fix him a plate of food. You know what I'm saying? He's always sitting there asking everybody to do shit for him. But never does he lean over and say, let me take care of y'all. Nah, it's always take care of me. I'm one big petulant child. I blame his parents. They're the ones that unleashed this asshole on us. May they rest in hell. It is insane to me. Just because his parents raised this shit, we got to deal with it. And because of white nationalists, is the reason why he's in office. We let the minority of us, American citizens, most American citizens just care about everybody. Let's take care of this, take care of that. The majority of Americans think this way. The minority's in control. Why we let that happen, I have no fucking clue. But we have an opportunity to cast that away. But no, I guarantee you, they're going to get back on their hate train as long as their pocketbooks are not being fucked with. They didn't just witness Donald Trump using his own feelings to mess with our 401ks, with our investments, just because he felt a certain way. Who does that? A dictator? A king? They wake up on the wrong side of bed and everybody else must be punished because they feel like shit. No one person, president, Supreme Court, the Congress, should wake up on the wrong side of the bed and make life worse for the rest of us just because they feel bad that day. We shouldn't have that. It's just insane. It is. But this is what this man said last night, I believe. Last night was Tuesday. This is what he said. It's crazy. It's just crazy. I don't know if it's actually playing or not. Is it playing? Nope. There you go.
Yes, up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir.
He said, "I'll do anything, sir." Sir, you know Donald Trump is lying once he says somebody says sir to him. They would not be saying sir to him. They would be saying Mr. President. You've never heard anybody call the president and literally say, sir. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. Every time you see them talk about a president, whether it be Biden, whether it was Obama, whether it was President Bush, his father, Carter, they still call them president. Mr. President, I don't believe this, Mr. President. I don't believe that, Mr. President. They wouldn't call him sir. Sir would make it seem like they're lesser than him, like they're not a sir either. They're younger than him, which they're not. They're all are leaders of their own country. They call each other by their leadership name. So for Donald Trump to say, sir, that you know it's a lie. You know it's a lie. And I don't see why any of these reporters, and he wasn't in front of a reporter, he's like, is that some kind of function, whatever, fundraiser. But I didn't see throughout the day anybody who played this clip say just that. Nobody would ever call him as a leader of another country, calling him to negotiate, would ever call him sir. And I guarantee you, leaders around the world are like, I never called that fool sir. I called him Mr. President or President Trump. They call each other that name out of respect. Just like when you talk to a person who's a doctor, her name or his name, let's say her name is Cameron, you would say Dr. Cameron. You would not say sir. They worked hard for that title. They want that title mentioned every time their name is mentioned. Nothing arrogant. It's just the way it is. So for him to say exactly what he just said was a complete and utter lie. They laughed at it because he's mocking them. Now ask yourself, are there really 70, 75 people? He keeps on edging it up. At first they said it was 50 to something. Then they came out and said it was 70. Then somebody else came out and said it's 75. He came out today and said it's 70, 75, and I think there's more. I'm like, oh my God. I think there's more. You are the president. You would have, what gets me, y'all, and it bothers me so much, because I'm some person who just loves facts, and I want to hear something that even sounds like or resembles a fact. Let me help you understand. You guys know, but I'm just going to say this. In order to know a fact, right? A fact is he put this on hold for 90 days. That gives you an understanding that they thought about it and they put it on for 90 days. Is it 90 days arbitrary, just coming out his ass? Yes, it is. But still, we got a 90 days. So that gives us a fact. If I say it's just, it's paused for days, you're wanting to know how many days, right? Exactly. So this man saying what he's saying about, I got 70, 75, I think there's more. How would you not know exact numbers? These are things in which you are becoming successful at. If you got 90, whatever many countries, you want to have the exact number so that it looks bigger. But when you say 70, 75, I believe there's more that I've had on the phone. You can't count it. You're not keeping numbers of all of them. You're just saying this shit. That to me is just like, first of all, it's unprofessional. Just to be throwing out willy-nilly numbers. If we have learned anything over the tenure of Trump being in the ecosphere, being able to even hear this man in the political sphere, is that his numbers are always off. This is the only person that you've ever heard in your life that starts off with the wrong numbers. Oh, there's billions and millions of billions and millions of millions of millions. I mean, there's thousands. It's like, You go from billions to millions to thousands. Who does that? Who literally says, I made billions of dollars, I made millions of dollars and thousands of dollars? You go the opposite way when you're trying to say you did better things. You don't use them randomly. Who does this shit? Trump? You don't know any other human being that literally said, how much you make last year? Oh, I made millions of dollars and billions and thousands more than millions and billions and lots of money. You would think something's wrong with that person. But this is Trump's norm. Out of order. Because his brain has never worked worth a damn. If you listen to this man even in the past, it's never worked worth a damn. Donald Trump was slow as a child, and he still is. The only reason this man has anything going for him is because of his father having as much money. If Donald Trump's dad was broke, Donald Trump right now would have no job. He'd be on unemployment. There's no way that this man, with the brain that he has, would be successful. The things he says is just childish. The way he speaks is less. I'm telling you, I'm very impatient with people when they talk nonsense because it's a waste of my time. I sit there and listen to you, and I'm like, wait a minute. What you just said made no sense. I spent time listening to you. You made no sense. Zero. Absolutely none. He'll start off with stuff that just, you're trying to figure it out. And then by the time he gets to it, you're like, what the fuck did he just say? In circles, all over the place. Then he just throws in a bunch of adjectives to kind of make it look good. And then, can I have another question? You never answered the first three. But he thinks he has. That's not just being an elderly person. That means you've never had a cogent thought worth a damn. It makes sense why he bankrupted businesses that were easy to make money off of. I guarantee you, give me one casino, and I promise you I'll have 10 within the next year. Not it fail. I'll have 10 casinos. I'll make it work. And I'll have to be a genius. You just deal with absolute numbers. First off, don't spend more than the damn thing's worth. He spent $1 billion for shit that wasn't even worth nowhere near $1 billion. And then put a ton of money into it. That's just nonsense. You don't know nothing about business if that's the way you rolling. Then he made it gaudy. Not even a place that you want to go see. It was gold everywhere. The hell, people? We are not going to like some, cave filled with gold. Why? People are coming in there with no money, trying to make it rich, and they walk into a place filled with gold. You're looking at a bunch of people that want money. If this shit was real gold, you don't think people are going to be chipping off the walls? I mean, this is some of the dumbest shit you ever think. Don't put that kind of wealth around people who are trying to make money. This is not your own little club of billionaires. It's average folk. And that's what he forgot, because he doesn't calculate in average folks. Because he knows he can't compete with us. This is the rich people that look at him and say, oh, look what he's got, look what he's got. But he doesn't have much. Most of these billionaires would tell you. But I digress. He has more than me. But it's not because I believe he earned it. I think it's because he was born that way. His family had the money. His dad earned it by doing the things he did. But I digress on that. We're going to, after he said, Donald Trump, after he said that about that they said they kissed his ass, whatever, which they did not do. He came out the next morning. He came out with like 9:37, telling people to buy stock again, and then like by 1 o'clock, he sent out after everything. He sent out a tweet or a truth. We're gonna go over that truth. It was long as hell. I ain't lying. He brought out a book, y'all. brought out a book on this tweet, or this truth. I keep on calling it tweets. But let's go ahead and, let's see what we got. Let's go ahead and see if we can watch that or read that real quick. In this one, this man said, based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world's market. Now, he's trying to turn everything on China. What did China do other than say, I'm not backing down from you throwing tariffs on me? The other countries were scared because, again, China's number one. All these other countries he's speaking about, they're not even in the top 20. Israel's at 22. UK, also a person who stood up and did not back down. So why wasn't the UK mentioned in this? Because the UK said the same thing. We ain't playing with you. We're gonna throw tariffs on you as well. We're gonna work with other people. We don't need it like that, America. UK did that, but you didn't hear not a word come out of his mouth about the UK in a negative way. Not at all. It was all about China, because he knows he's at this big thing with China. He blames them with COVID. He blames them for everything. And even the deal that we have with China, America made that deal, y'all. America made that deal. Why are you pissed off at a deal that you made with China? With NAFTA, we made that deal with China, right? All the different trade things, we're the ones who came to them and said, hey, make our shit for cheap and we'll buy a lot from you. We're the ones that asked them to do this. And in so doing, they took advantage of it. What were they supposed to do? Not take care of their own people? Not create wealth for their own people? They're supposed to think about America first or some shit? They're China. They're thinking China first, and rightfully so. But America thinks they should have put us first. And somehow what? Shared with us their wealth? It's not their job to tell them that, hey, America, we got this deal. You guys want this shirt for like $1.50? You got it for $1.50. So we're going over here and getting and selling to somebody for a little bit different price and selling somebody over here for a different price. And we're doing this over here and we're making a shit ton of money. That's our business. And America's wanting to say like, well, you didn't tell us you was making money over here and over here and over here. And now we want to trade with you. Well, what you got, America? What you got? I will buy it. What is it? What you need? You know, what do y'all got over there, Johnny? What you got that we can buy? Well, we don't make anything anymore. Well, bring me something. What you got? Well, we don't make anything for cheap enough for your people to actually buy it. Then shut the fuck up then. The fuck you got? America? Nothing. What we gave away, we did not replenish. We went into the tech world and the service industry. And guess what? They got better at technology and service than we did. So, oops, America, you fucked yourself. And now you're mad at China. Of course you should be mad at them for stealing patents and shit. They did that too. Mad at them for that. Trademark and shit like that. Hell yeah, you should be mad at them for that. But it's your fault for sending them said products. They can't steal a patent or build it if they didn't have the actual wherewithal to do it. We gave them our technology to build our shit so that we can get it for cheap. Slave labor, because America couldn't have slaves anymore. So they're trying to create another slave class, your teenage kids. I am hereby raising the tariffs charged to China by the United States of America to 125% effectively immediately. Today, or midnight, it went to 104 something, I believe. After China threw, I think, 84% or something like that in the 80s, 84, 86% onto the additional tariffs. Donald Trump felt like, wait a minute, you guys keep on, this game of chicken, keep on going back and forth. So Donald Trump threw 125, effective immediately. Again, tariffs fuck us up. Okay? We got to sit here and buy this product if we need it. It messes us up. And if we don't buy said product, they can sell it somewhere else. You don't become the #1 exporter, manufacturer in the fucking world when you don't have other people to go to. America keeps tripping, y'all. There are billions of people on this planet. Billions of people on this planet. America makes up about 300 and some odd million, 330, something like that. You tell me 330 million, which is very small compared to the entire fucking country. You think that China doesn't make their product cheap enough that they can't sell it to another country for like, if they're making it for $1, you don't think they can sell it to Europe, to Japan, to other countries for way cheaper than they sell it to us for and still make profit? Come on. We can't be this stupid, y'all. This America, we can't be this stupid. Can't be this gullible to think that that's a reality. China will win that war. There is no country, each of these 70 no country that's going to fuck itself just so that America can survive. Oh yeah, we're willing to fuck our people over for American people. Yeah, we're going to make America. Say what? You're going to make America first again and fuck your own people over? This shit makes no sense. It makes no sense, yet they want you to believe it. They want you to believe it. And too many Americans believe this trash. It says, at some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realize that the days of ripping off the U.S. and other countries is no longer sustainable or acceptable. I can't say I don't disagree with that in a way. I mean, they have been stealing our patents, trademarks, and making our products, therefore cheapening the value of many products that we buy because you can get it through Temu and other places for pennies on the dollar and with a different label on it, as opposed to the person who created it should be getting $125 that they've marketed this thing in the United States for. I get it. Every country does that to us. In fact, America does that to other countries as well. We have products and services that we have over here that we sell to them at a high rate when literally it doesn't cost us really anything because it's already been made. It's already been designed and created. You just copying and pasting and giving it to somebody for a shit ton of money. You're robbing everybody in that process, but that's just how the country rolls. All right? So we do the same things. So we really can't be, because think about it for a second. How many times have you guys seen, because we're like the #1 in entertainment, right? America's #1 in entertainment and, you know, movies and things of that nature, right? Now ask yourself, how many TV shows and movies do you love growing up as a kid? A lot of kid shows you love. Ask yourself, how many of those shows were really shows that were stolen from the UK, that were stolen from China, that were stolen from other countries? How many of them? Go look back at them. Many of our movies and TV shows are stolen, the premises, from other countries. Some with credit, most with not. America steals like every other country does. But we're the ones who are out here, and I can't speak for any other country. I'm just speaking for our own respect and morality. We're telling everybody not to do what we consistently do. So you really can't blame China for doing the exact same shit we do. But that's what Donald Trump and many Americans who refuse to look at the reality that you can't tell somebody to stop stealing if you got your hand in the cookie jar taking just as many cookies but from a different cookie jar. If you wanted to be like no stealing, keep your copyrights, America, then you need to do the same. Have you noticed? Nobody talks about America stealing anything. It's always America talking about other people stealing shit. So we don't have that reputation. Yeah, we do across the world. People think about that, but you never hear them countries coming here and saying that to us. You'll see Donald Trump tell people to their face. He had Bibi Netanyahu here talking about saying those things. You know, they've been ripping us off for years, and you know he's gonna do right by us, and blah 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 blah. And it's like you literally said to their face that they should be better but not recognizing that we do the same things to almost every country, but in different sectors. All right. But let's continue. Conversely, and based on the fact that more than 75 countries have called representatives of the United States, including departments of Commerce, Treasury, and the USTR, to negotiate a solution to subjects being discussed relative to trade. Now, this is a strange way of putting it. And let me explain. He says that many of them, 75 countries, more than he says, have called representatives of the United States. Calling the United States representatives in these different departments is not about negotiating. He's like, yo, Representative Johnson. Yeah, okay. What the fuck is going on? I don't know what's going on. We were good. Now we're not good. Where do we stand with this dude? I don't know. I just don't know, but I let him know you called. All right. That's the exact equation of what that says is that they've called. None of them have made any negotiations because they haven't said so in this thing. They've just called representatives. I'm sorry, when you're trying to negotiate, you speak with the president. You really think that these leaders of these countries are talking to representatives, or is it their people trying to get a heat check as to what the fuck is going on with this dude? What should I know about him? That's what they're doing. Not the leaders calling and saying, hey, look, let's make a deal. Yeah, in the video we just saw, they kissing his ass. Who's kissing your ass? You literally wrote down here that they're calling the representatives. You said none of this was being reached to you yet. You didn't say nothing about these 75 are calling you. They're calling the representatives. So they're kissing the representative's ass or yours? See how none of the shit he says makes sense? He contradicts himself. Every time he opens his mouth and he tweets or truths, he contradicts himself. It's insane. I mean, I don't know how the parents were raised up with this idiot. Was like, you hungry? Nope. You cooking? You just said you weren't hungry. I mean, it's weird. It's weird. And why people aren't just calling it out, it's so much trash that they may miss it, but they should always come back to it and say, what is wrong with this man? Because none of this is saying right now that they spoke to him. They spoke to representatives. And the representatives have no power. Donald Trump is making these decisions. So why would you even talk to the representatives if everything the representatives are saying, Donald Trump contradicts? So if Donald Trump is the one with the end power, the end all be all, why am I talking to you, representatives? He's not saying the same shit you're saying. So you don't have any power. So I'm going to stop talking to you and connect me to him. It's the only way they're going to work it out. Continue to listen. He says the U.S. Negotiate a solution to the subjects being discussed relative to trade barriers, tariffs, currency manipulation, and non-monetary tariffs, and that these countries have not, at my strong suggestion, retaliated in any way, shape, or form against the United States. The UK has thrown tariffs on us too. What is he talking about? They have retaliated. The point is Donald Trump is trying to get China. And because China has the big dog, number one in trade with us, that's the one he's trying to mess with. Mess with the head, number one, and the rest will follow. Right? So if he can get China to capitulate, all the rest of them will follow. Just like he's trying to get all these big law firms to give up so that the smaller ones don't even try. He goes after the big ones. The big ones have literally been capitulating. This man's almost got like $1 billion from lawyers to do free work for them because he held their ability to be able to do contracts or deals with people who have government contracts. He has manipulated his position to force people out that don't agree with him or don't let him do what he wants to do, and tries to sue them or take the power away from them so that they can give him free labor. That's extortion. But these people capitulate for power, for their money, because immediately, if they can't have access, all of their clients that are big time clients that have government contracts fall off of their roster. And if that happens, they lose a huge chunk of their money. And no president should be able to legally do that to people. Me and you would be in jail for trying to do that to people. It's insane. It's insane. Let's continue. I have authorized a 90-day pause and a substantially lower reciprocal tariff during this period of 10%, also effective immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, his 10% is still like, if his 3% is the average, he's multiplied that by 3. So you're looking at 3 times as much tariffs, as much of a tax on countries when it was really just 1 to 3% for most of them. And many of those people we have a trade surplus with. So why on earth would we be messing with people who literally have done right by us? I don't get it, y'all. Why would we be messing with people who have done right by us? These people have 1 to 3%. That's fine. They try and get people with the trade deficit ideology. That's stupid. The idea of a deficit, we look at our economy, our budget. When we have a deficit, we're really talking about we're spending more money than we're actually bringing in. So we bring in 4 trillion and our bills are 6 trillion. So we got to lower our bills so that we can balance the budget so we can get down to the 4 trillion, right? That's one way of looking at the deficit. Now, people are applying that ideology to trade deficit, not the same. Even though it does mean that let's say we buy more products from them, like we buy their, let's say like for Japan or China, let's say for China, we buy more cars or things of that nature from them, right? Then they buy from us. Well, look at their culture. Are their cars usually small based on the streets, the way it's built, or the different things of that nature? That's what is a huge difference. Is that, are they driving on the opposite side of the street? Do we have to remake our cars? I mean, there's so many different variables as to why that may be different. But other things may be we share with them more than, or we sell to them more than they sell to us. It's not just one size fits all, right? So what Donald Trump is trying to do across the board is, there are countries that we have a trade deficit, meaning we actually take more from them than we actually send to them. But we make more money off of it than they do. So they may take a product or so from us and they're just making, $1 trillion off of it a year. We're buying from them different products for like $3 and we're making $6 trillion off of it. We're way ahead for most countries. We're way ahead in the fact that they build it for cheap and we sell it for high. That's the deal America's made with most of the countries around the world. We make a crap ton of money. That's why we have so many billionaires in this country that has grown in the last 40 years or so. Because of that. Because we've been able to have this balance where we may buy more from that country, but we're buying it for pennies on a dollar. Think about it. If you're paying people, $2 a day for building, let's say, whatever, iPhones. You're paying $2 a day for them to build iPhones and shit to do, and they're building a crap ton of them, and it's $2 a day. We are bringing in millions upon millions of phones, and they're not buying any phones from us. That is a trade deficit. They're not buying phones from us, but we're buying them from them. It's like, wait a minute, you need to buy some phones from us too. Why? That's why it doesn't make any sense when they talk about trade deficit. Why am I buying phones from you? I'm over here building these phones for you for $2 a fucking day. You're selling them over here for $1,300. You know how many phones they can make in a day? You know how much each one of these phones that they make? That's $1,300. You're making a mint. So why are we worried about trade deficits, when we're making more money off the products than you are? It's not about the actual products, how much you're making off that product. And we're making a mint compared to these countries. And you want to sit here and tell, oh, well, the reason why they're making money is not off of us, it's off everybody else. Because they don't give them the same rate that they give us all the time. It's kind of like bespoke. Each country gets its own deal. And America may have gotten suckered in this particular position, but you made your own deal. These other countries were not in the room when America made the deal with China, when America made the deal with Mexico. America made the deal with China. Other countries. Nobody was in the room but us in that country. Now, if China and Japan did a deal and they got a better deal than us, then they just negotiated better than us. What are we supposed to do? Come back and say, no fair. It's like, dude, you thought it was fair until somebody else beat you out. It ain't my problem. That's your problem. Deal better next time. Next time, do better. But America's like the little whiny baby. No fair. I'm going to tell mom. And then turns around and tries to renege on a deal because somebody else got a better deal. That's childish. That's childish. So today there was Scott Bessent was out speaking after Donald Trump said what he said. And let's listen in. If you guys, for some reason it doesn't play. It's crazy.
Of the large number of inbounds, we've had more than 75 countries contact us, and I imagine after today there will be more. So it is just a processing problem. Each one of these solutions is going to be bespoke.
Okay, he just said each one of these is going to be bespoke. Now, if you don't know what bespoke means, it's just going to be tailored to each one. So you got 75 countries that's going to have different deals with us, which is already set up. They got different deals with us. Many of these countries, we have a surplus on them. So you're making deals across the board that not bespoke. They threw 10% tariffs on everybody. Is that bespoke? Or is that just one slapped on deal? See what I mean by how America does the opposite, but requests everybody else does what the fuck they ask? This man just said each one of these countries is going to come to us and we're going to have a bespoke deal for them. But in so doing, to get this deal, we slapped on the same deal for all of y'all. Some of these countries literally have a 1% tariff. You just 10 timed their amount that they have to actually give that, or they have to throw a tariff on. 10 times as much. Or 10% more. It's insane. It's insane. They've raised that ridiculous amount. For 10% is still a ridiculous amount for most of the countries. They're usually 1 to 3%. That's why I was still shocked that the stocks went up. I'm like, why would y'all go up? And they're just still, it's still bad. It's still bad. They all have tariffs that are way more, multiples more than it was before. Now they got to figure out, think about this. These people got this crazy little map that he got from AI to tell them what percentages are going to go up. 34 here, 38 here, 56 here, 46 there. Now, they scrambled around with their economists, with their budget people, and realized, okay, what is it going to be? And that's probably why these 75 countries was calling. So Donald Trump didn't tell us what our percentage is going to be. What was our percentage going to be? Because I didn't see us on the map. I saw the penguins, but I didn't see our country on there. Are we being tariffed or not? Oh, yeah, you're being tariffed. He said all of them. So it wasn't on that list. So what's my number? That's what they're probably calling about. What is my tariff? Oh, you're going to be 25%. Okay, 25. Now they got to go and do their own math and figure out, is it feasible? Now they done went and did all this. This isn't free. It's taking hundreds of thousands, if not millions, to cater to Donald Trump's whim of what the tariff is going to be. Now we figured it out after 4 or 5 days, brought it to our leaders. Okay, so we're going to have to cut back here. Cut back. What happened? He changed it again? Say what? We just figured out shit. Now they got to break down all the millions and hundreds of thousands of dollars they spent trying to figure it out. Depends on how much they took to figure it out. Now they got to go back to the drawing board and wait for him to say, oh, he said 10% for everybody. Is this lasting longer than a week? Don't know. Should we wait? Don't know. Oh, so we can calculate 10% in? Yeah, but it might change. He said 30 days or 90 days. Okay, so let's go to the drawing board again. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars spent to figure out how they can do it, whether small businesses are going to make it or not. And then when they come back to it, who knows? Donald Trump may get enough news of them saying he's been backing down and flipping so much that nobody trusts him. And then he might come out with something else. Well, it seems like everybody's getting all in a tiffy, so I might as well just put it back up to 25. Fuck, bro. We can't keep going back and forth. Make up your little crazy ass mind. That's why no factories are going to come to this country. Why would you? Americans bring back their factories when this fool makes his mind up every other day.
It is going to take some time, and President Trump wants to be personally involved. So that's why we're getting the 90-day pause.
Personally involved. Remember I told you, it took about 90-something days, whatever, for them to get that deal for the USMCA, which the NAFTA was already the shell of the USMCA. So there were a few things that were changed, but it was basically just like a supercharged NAFTA. NAFTA was not changed completely. They just went in and tinkered with it. So now it has a little Hemi, whatever the fuck it is, but it's still the same vehicle. Everything else is the same, right? So that's all he did was come in and mess with it and made it somewhat better for a lot of people in the United States. But that's the same thing that he's talking here. I mean, is he really making this stuff right here any better? We won't know about that. But the thing is, 90 days is not going to be something that it's going to be able to. It took 18 months for that deal to finally go through. So the stuff they're talking about that Donald Trump wants to be in on every deal, 75 plus deals that are all bespoke. And you think that's going to take 90 days. When it was just 3 countries, us, Mexico, Canada, took 90 days or more to just have a discussion to change something that was already into play. And 18 months for it to finally be signed. And you're going to do that with 75 plus countries bespoke. Why didn't the reporter say, dude, do you understand it's going to take about 75 years to fucking accomplish? How the hell do you think that's going to work? They're all bespoke. How is that going to happen? in 3 months. Unless all you're doing is what Donald Trump loves to do, lie to everybody, and then get the same fucking deal that you had before. Look what I accomplished. All I did, ain't gonna tell you that. We worked hard. Really? What's the deal? Essentially the same fucking deal. It's just insane. Then Howard Lutnick, he came out and he said he was in this meeting with Scott Bessent. And I sat with President while listen to how he strokes Donald Trump's ego in this tweet. It says Scott Bessent and I sat with the president while he wrote one of the most extraordinary truth posts of his presidency. That piece of shit we just read was extraordinary to this man. The world is ready to work with President Trump to fix global trade, and China has chosen the opposite direction. The world has not said a damn thing. You have, and we don't trust you. And China chose the opposite direction because you're trying to punk them, and they're standing 10 toes down on their power, which they have every right to fucking do. They haven't even asked what they want of China. None of these countries have they given the American people, what are you trying to get with them? You want to bring back factories here, but we don't want them. We want new factories, new type of businesses, but we don't want those old factories back, bro. That ain't what we want, the majority of it. So how is it that you don't even know what the hell the American people want, but you're making a deal for shit that we may not care about? It's odd. It's the worst way to do a deal that any human being has ever spoke about. All the people who do deals and shit have looked at this and said, this is trash. This doesn't make any sense. And this fool is full steam ahead with dipshittery. Full steam ahead. All right. Those are the things that this man has put forth for us. Is a bunch of nonsense. Complete and utter nonsense. So he went out there. Bessent, well, he actually changed his mind on the topic and had Bessent come out and give a speech about the great deal that he just made. And like I told you weeks ago, what Donald Trump, I said about him destroying the economy and then playing the savior, the same shit that Hitler did. It's all the exact same. It's like they took a page out of his book and just photocopied it and did these things of deceiving the American people and trying to take credit for shit that they destroyed. People got a lot of their money back today, and I'm happy for those people. They didn't get all of it, but they got a lot of it. And that's awesome. And I'm sure there was many people who were happy and at this moment might be selling their shit or putting it somewhere where it doesn't get affected by Donald Trump. Because when the one of the companies came out today and said that we were going to have a recession. Recession's about 65%. I think Goldman Sachs came out. Now, other ones that came out before and said this, but Donald Trump thinks Goldman Sachs, because it's golden, I'm pretty sure, is the company to listen to, right? They came out and said it's going to basically be like 65% that we're going to have a recession. And they based it off the fact that a lot of our bond market was going down. Now, here's the thing. The reason why our bonds were being messed with, basically it's having to deal with the actual percentage of our dollar in a sense, is because usually when the stock market was crashing, it's going down, 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 people selling, right? Usually when you sell your stocks, right, you put them in a safe place, meaning you sold this money that you have, sold these stocks, got your money. You usually take that money and you put it into bonds. You buy some gold, you buy a little bit, you put it in that situation, right? So that it's protected to some degree, because that usually is the foundation of how the actual money is valued, right? So Goldman Sachs based that we were going on a recession because the bonds and so forth, they were being affected by what Trump was doing. Now, if that continued, we would go into no longer the idea of going into a recession. We would go into a depression. And it's hard to get out of it when the base of it, like the bonds and your stocks, are both crashing. It's hard to get out of that. That's what happened to Japan. And so Japan has never been able to fight to get back to being like number one of producing products and manufacturing like it was before China took over. Right? So now their stuff crashed years and years ago. They've never really come back from that. And America, that's what they were telling, Goldman Sachs was saying, that we're headed toward the way of Japan back in the day. And then Donald Trump backed the fuck off because they said it. So he backed up off his plan that he said he was going to stay on. So if you back up your plan, that means you really didn't have any strategy. You was just trying some shit. And you failed at it. And now you're trying to gain accolades from your failure. Because what you were trying to do, you shouldn't have been trying to do. And if you had left it the fuck alone, people would be up right now instead of still down a little bit. I'm happy to, I'm sure I got to talk to my friend. I'm sure his close to $75,000 came back. Probably lost more than that because the $75 was the $75,000 was, or 70,000 was the first crash. The first when it dropped 1,600 points. Then when it dropped 2,200 points, he had to lost just that much. So he's probably back up $120,000 or so right now, or close to that, 100,000 at least. So I'm happy for him and people like him who were able to come back. But we're not out of the woods yet. Things are going to cost more. And because of people who have businesses are very greedy, they're going to justify gouging us by saying everything is not, consistent. So we're going to charge you more because we're going to try and keep it, level it off. He keeps playing with 10 and 20, 30, 20. So let's go 25. And our shit will go up 25%. And then they'll probably just gouge us on top of that and go 25, 40%, just so they continue to make their profit with additional money. And then when he finally settles on something, they'll continue to gouge us because they done figured out that we can survive at that gouge rate until we start not surviving. And then they'll make us feel like, oh, they cut the prices. They did something good by us. It is a consistent fuckery for Americans. This is why I say we got to create a way, Americans, that we are never at the whim of them. It's got to be us against them, meaning the billionaires and the people who are consistently messing with our lifestyle. We have got to be able to take control of the market as the people because we're the real buyers, and therefore we have to get together and start doing some things and making some moves that we're not always at the whim of billionaires and people who just want to make decisions that's going to mess up our lives. We want some kind of consistency, and it's going to take the people to be able to do such thing. What's up? Fulton Barron said China owns at least $1 billion in U.S. bonds. Oh yeah. China owns a lot of our debt. So it's like I said many times before. The reason, and I know that they've stolen patents and things of that nature, and we need to be mad about that. But the real reason American business people and they market us to hate Chinese or China of that nature is because they are the closest to us and like superpowered them. They are the ones who are orchestrating ideas and dreams of grandeur and most of American eyes to take us off that #1 chart that we believe that we're on. So they're the closest to doing so. And so, you know, a lot of what we do and say is to disrespect them so that we keep them not advancing to the top. Like, we don't want them to be there. And the weirdest part of this whole thing is we were so far ahead of them. We just did not innovate as much as they did. And on top of that, we didn't invest in our people. China invested in its people. They spent trillions of dollars focusing on the industries in which made that country wealthy and reinventing it. So much so that they can make a pair of shoes with barely any money. They got robots, they got people, they got everything, every technology advanced more than us. Their robots are better than ours. Their AI is better than ours, faster than ours. And it's just, they've invested more. They've gotten brilliance from many of their people. As in our country, we put millions into white organizations. They don't really go into the Latin organizations and put hundreds of millions of dollars. They don't go into the black organizations and put hundreds of millions of dollars. They don't go into other cultures, organizations, and invest hundreds of millions of dollars. They go to these white males and give them a lot of money, and the bright ones of them create stuff. But everybody knows with diversity comes brilliance. If you took brilliant people from every culture with different lived experiences and put their brightness together, things that white men can't see, then you can be able to have a dominant type of sense of like what everybody in the world would like need. We got Asian people, Indian people, black people, Latin people, all that. If we brought them together with different visions of what brilliance is from their community and also from just being an American and lived experiences, that means we can tap into every country's brilliance just with them being here. And being able to advance ourselves to the point where we don't have to be looking over our shoulder and saying, like, China's coming up close. They wouldn't be nowhere near us. We had 50% of the market manufacturing after World War II. We sold that shit off and thought we was going to sucker them and put them light years behind us forever. It did set them back behind us about 40 years. But the reality is they've caught up and in many cases surpassed us. And that wasn't because we kept our foot on the gas. It's because we got rid of it. We got rid of the vehicle. We got rid of everything else. We sat on our ass and collected money off of their slave wages. While they did some things illegally, stole our patents and so forth, did a lot of things legally, created their own brands with this cheap labor stuff and added more technology to it. And therefore, Samsung started passing people up. Sony started passing people up. Hello, America. It's McFly, wake the fuck up. You did it to yourselves. And so instead of it reinvesting into, and they're trying to do it again. Like I said, $1.4 trillion, I think it was China or Japan. It was Asian country. I want to say it was Japan. They invested into their country, their people, education, technology, different things of that nature. America is nowhere near that. We're literally trying to take education away from our kids. Do you think that's going to make us better or worse in the 50 years to come? These billionaires think about their pocketbook, and they're usually thinking about destroying Americans in that process, breaking us down, not giving us enough to live off of, and then going somewhere else and getting it for cheap and coming back here and asking us to buy it for an expense. They have taken advantage. If you really want to look at it, the billionaires in this country are worse than the Japanese or Chinese people toward us. Think about it. If you buy something from Japan or China directly from them, it's cheap as fuck. They know what kind of money that we normally have. So I can go buy a cell phone that has a Japanese name on it, or a Chinese or a Korean name on it that isn't Samsung, that is just as good as a Samsung or just as good as an iPhone, or maybe even the same thing with a different shell because they make them anyway, for $300, and they want to charge me $2,000 for it. Are you telling me that that country cares less or more about me if it's really selling me what this damn thing is worth and still making a product, still making profit? They care more about us because they don't gouge us. Our own people gouge the fuck out of us, and we sit here and act like American business people really have our best interests at hand? No fucking way. If they did, they would be selling it to us. They're getting it for pennies on a fucking dollar. They can literally buy it, each phone, for like $5 a piece, sell it to us for $75 and be totally making a profit. But instead, they're selling it to us. Our own people selling it to us for $2,000 when you can get it directly from another country for $300, brand new. Is China fucking with us, or is it American billionaires fucking with us? Exactly. And then they're trying to tell you it's China, it's Japan, it's Korea. No, it's American business people. There's no reason they should be buying these phones for $50 and selling it to us for thousands. And then get mad at them because they won't take it down to $35 instead of $50. It's insane, people. Exactly, Fulton Barons. Innovation is pushed by diversity. It has to be. Everybody has different lived experiences. That's why when you look at, like, again, if you look at a Chinese or a Japanese country, they've had different experiences in life. So a lot of what they do is heavily tech, right? When they come out of their country, we see a lot of heavily tech stuff and advanced tech stuff. The first time I ever saw like a human size or human-like, not with a human face, but still looking robotic, it was from a Japanese company. When I saw one of my first robots that I saw, I was like, holy crap. It balances on its own. It was a Japanese, it wasn't MIT, it was Japanese. Chinese. They do a great thing by their people by advancing their brilliant. We are always trying to fuck each other over for money. Instead of our country investing in our brilliant children, no matter what race they are, black, white, Latin, Asian, all of the above, American citizens. If we had programs where we really reached out to our brilliant children in each area, whether it be in farming, I'm sure there are kids right now that have thought of, Dad, if we just did this and added water there and we just did this, we could produce a lot more. Is our country looking for that child? Fuck no, they're not. They're looking their best to see if we can put it overseas somewhere, or if we can get some of these corporations to fake it till we make it. Like, oh, can you make some synthetic food? You know, they're thinking all kind of crazy shit when they could be listening to some bright kids, bright young adults, and investing millions into them to have a new way of life, so that 50 years from now, we're ahead of the curve. We're talking about giving money to old ass people, old ass white men, to come up with new ass ideas, while the new people are sitting here just waiting to turn the world into something better. These greedy people want to keep it amongst the older white men and leave all the young people out of it. How does that look, or how does that bode with us in the future? All these other countries tapping into their brilliant minds of all ages. That's why they've surpassed us, because they tapped into the brilliance of all their people, or at least tried. They put trillions of dollars up to invest in their people, in their education. That's why they're smarter than us. That's why you can have Russia and other countries send our people shit on the internet, and they realize how stupid and gullible we are, that we'll sit there and read this bullshit from conservative.org, or, you know, liberals are us all the time.org, and we sit there and listen to them send us the most bullshit ideas, and we believe them. because other countries realize America has not tapped into its brilliance. It has not tried for decades upon decades to tap into the best of their people. They're focused on consumer shit, consuming shit, and they're focused on greed and just them. The classism. And therefore, a lot of their people, their brilliant people, die with the brilliance inside of them. Because these billionaires have figured out we can treat other people like slaves and pay for shit cheap and make these people pay for it. So Americans, you got to wake up. Got to really wake up and realize it's not you that they care about. If they did, they would be doing things to benefit you. They don't. How many Americans were out here screaming, Trump, I'm losing my farm. Republicans too. Trump, I'm losing my business. Trump, this is happening. Trump, I voted for you. What you doing? Trump, I lost my job. All of you guys were out there screaming. Did he give a damn? No. He literally said, I don't give a fuck. It wasn't until rich people, one of the most trusted, richest companies in the world, Goldman, literally said, hey, this is fucking with the bonds. You're talking about going toward depression. You're moving right past recession, 65%. Oh, that's what? Oh, I'll pull back. While the rest of y'all was losing homes and businesses. Many of you have already lost your jobs just on the promise of the idea of tariffs that's going to go up, 25%. 900 jobs were put on hold. Are these people, remember I told you, 60% of Americans, was recent, it used to be 80, but 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. There are literally 900 plus people that did not receive a paycheck. How many more are they going to go without before they're living under a bridge? Because Donald Trump is not done. And these jobs have not come back. All this has been going on while we haven't, we realized that Doge is still out there. How many more government people have been losing jobs? We haven't been focusing on that. How is Doge doing? Are they saving money? Nobody's focusing on that. This man throws out so many damn hand grenades and blows up so much shit. And how many more executive orders are we going to have? They talk shit about Obama having executive orders. This man's got so many damn executive orders within 3 months. And it's not going to stop. It's just crazy. See, it is, I couldn't watch news, depressing, getting me. Hello, Outland, how you doing? Oh, you're talking to somebody else. Yeah, depressing. It was depressing to watch any kind of news today. He's a psychopath, Lance said. Yeah, he really is. He really is. I think we got one more video to watch. And that was Representative Horsford today. He lit in today, ass, and I was like loving every minute of that. So I want to share that with y'all so y'all can see if they have it set up here. I don't think it actually is long enough. It actually cut it off, I think. Oh, I see here. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get it right here. Make sure audio's there. It's not playing yet.
Your trade representative, are you aware that the tariffs have been paused?
I am, yes.
When were you made aware of that?
I understood the decision was made a few minutes ago. It's something
Sitting here,
under discussion.
sitting here, under discussion. So did you know that that this was under discussion, and why did you not include that as part of your opening remarks?
So typically what I don't do is divulge the contents of my discussions. with
What are the
President
details of the
Congress.
pause?
Well, my understanding is that because so many countries have decided not to retaliate, we're going to have about 90 days.
No, excuse me? China increased their tariffs on the United States Trump blinked.
I love that. Trump blinked. Yeah, that pissed him off. I know it did. He'll probably call this man the N-word at least 12 times by this time of the day. But let's go ahead and keep going.
What's the blink, sir?
What do you know about this pause? What are the details of it?
Well, the details, as I understand it, is that China continues to retaliate. Other countries didn't retaliate. The president 2 or 3 days ago said we wanted to negotiate with those countries that asked for meetings. That's what we're doing.
What are the
We've had
details?
discussions.
How long is the pause? How many days? How many weeks?
I understand it's 90 days. I haven't spoken to the president since I've
So
been
the
in this
trade
hearing.
representative hasn't spoken to the president of the United States about a global reordering of trade.
Yes, I have. I've
And
just
yet
been in the
he's-
hearing with you, sir.
But yet he announced it on a tweet. WTF? Who's
I love that. he used acronyms. What the fuck? WTF? This man went off. I love this dude.
in charge?
The president of the United States is in charge.
And what do you know about those details?
Well, as I mentioned,
It looks like your boss just pulled the rug out from under you and paused the tariffs, the taxes on the American people. There's no strategy. You just found out
That's his
3
audio, not
seconds ago
mine.
sitting here. We saw you.
we've been discussing a
If
variety
you
of
came
these
here
actions.
knowing that you were going to be turned off, that these tariffs were going to be turned off, why didn't you include that in your opening statement? Why didn't you reference that as part of your testimony?
Well, I don't disclose my conversations with the president, sir.
These were specific questions we asked you all along. What's the strategy? These are real consequences for the American people and small businesses. I had a group of small businesses in my office earlier today talking about the impacts of these tariffs on aluminum and steel.
Hey, full.
This is amateur hour, and it needs to stop. What does this even mean for your negotiating strategy? How are you in charge of negotiation if the president is tweeting about this from wherever the hell he is?
The president was elected.
He mad. He said, hell, what WTF? I was waiting for him just by the end of it to say fuck. Just say it. Just say it. Let's go.
And he runs the trade policy, and I advise him and execute his
Who
trade
executes the
policy.
trade policy?
I execute the trade
Did you
policy
know
with the president.
that this was happening?
We have been discussing all kinds of
And there's another
options.
member of the cabinet, Bessent, who just canceled coming to the Hill to avoid talking about the market because it's in turmoil. This in just days because there was no strategy, there was no plan. The president chose to take actions that he didn't even have the authority to take. He's put our economy in disarray and near collapse. We have small businesses and Americans who are concerned about their well-being, people's retirement, people's 529 accounts went down because of this administration. We have people that are planning to send their kids to college this fall. People who are retiring,
that's him.
whose benefits have declined. Is this market manipulation?
No.
Why not? If it was a plan, if it was always the plan, how is this not market manipulation?
It's not market manipulation, sir.
Well, then what is it? Because it sure is not a strategy.
We're trying to reset the global trade system.
You're-
That has
and-
offshored,
and what-
offshored all of our factories.
And what has that
and
done?
offshored all of
How
our
have you
jobs.
done? How have you achieved any of that? But to enact enormous harm on the American people, which was our concern from the very beginning. Tariffs are a tool. It can be used in the appropriate way to protect U.S. jobs and small businesses. But that's not what this does. So if it's not market manipulation, what is it? Who's benefiting? What billionaire just got richer? And all the while, there are not even any Republicans left in this hearing. They all left because they don't even want to defend this. But meanwhile, the speaker is rushing to the floor to pass a budget reconciliation to screw America by passing the biggest tax cut in history on the backs of the American people. WTF? Who's in charge? Because it sure doesn't look like it's the trade representative. You just got the rug pulled out from under you. I wish I could feel some empathy, but the empathy I have is for the American people whose very well-being and livelihoods are being affected. This is not a game. This is real life. I yield back.
Now that right there, come on now, that right there had me like, okay, fighter, got a fighter on our hands. I was excited about that. I was like, look, someone to really kind of light into them and saying this is not a game. We're playing games with people's lives, and tell the truth about trade. Okay, tell the truth about trade. America has not been getting juiced by trade. We have been able, if you understand, I used to have a business back in the day where I sold products that I bought from overseas. Many years ago when I was in my, I want to say 30s. Yeah, 30s, early 30s. In order to do that, I had to start a business, right? I had to get a license, of course, a business license for this particular sales. I had to get a seller's permit and all those different things like that so that I can buy wholesale in order to sell to consumers, buy at a cheaper rate. Then I had to be able to try and contact people from other countries, whether it be, Brazil, the Philippines, China, Korea, and other countries that I used to get certain products from. And that was a task, right? And not everybody could partake in that, getting anything cheap. So if you wanted to buy, some headphones, nice set of headphones for you yourself, you'd have to get them from like Circuit City, Best Buy, Staples, whatever, CompUSA back in the day, whatever you had to get, technology company, you had to get it from, because you could not unless you were a business, as a consumer, buy it for cheap anywhere. You had to buy it within America's market. Nobody was selling you it straight from China. Now, you had like your 99-cent store, which was buying from there, but again, they had to have a wholesaleer's license, keep it current, and be able to buy these products overseas and pay the money, whatever it may be, duties, whatever you're taking, wherever you're coming from, and the taxes, tariffs, whatever it may be. That's how it used to be. But America, we are and have been in a place where Alibaba, and even within the last decade, it's changed a lot, because Alibaba used to be, you had to go and you had to give them your wholesaler's license and things like that, and permits and all that, before they would let you buy products 10 or 100 quantity or whatever, or even one quantity to get a sample. That's changed even within the last 10 or 15 years. They built a website. Now you can go to Alibaba and buy directly from them, headphones, headsets that are $3.99 a piece, buy 300 of them and sell them here for $25 or $15. You can do that right now. So how is it worse for us when we can buy these products cheap directly from China and sell them at the same rate that a Best Buy or Amazon is selling them for, and you can do that yourself now, as opposed to all of it being like you had to buy it from a company that was going to gouge you no matter what. You could do that yourself. Anybody don't have to have a wholesaler's license, none of that. It has gotten better for the American people in that sense, who wants to start something on their own. You didn't have that option before. And it's because China makes it so cheap that we can do it. If you charge China more than what you're doing now, you think we being able to buy these products, these headsets, these webcams that are really nice for 35 cents, $1.50, and selling them for 15 or 20 bucks here, you think I'd be able to do that? No. Not at all. So how is that helping the American people? How? Earthkeeper. I would be, I mentioned earlier, her trade, she ain't the only one. This right here was a gimmick that they knew was going to happen. She knew in advance that he was going to let this up. I don't know how long in advance. They made it told me it's going, I'm going to do it by Friday. I'm going to do it by whatever. I don't know how long in advance, but the last day that she traded was April 4th, which was 5 days ago. She had to have known that he was going to be letting this up. And you got to ask yourself how many Republicans or even Democrats may have overheard it. How many of them knew that this was going to happen? And I would love to see, they got apps out there. You can see the trades of these people. So I would love to see other people and what they've done. Although I saw somebody in a report earlier today say it's hard to prove insider trading, but if it's a lot of them and they bought some of the same stock, yeah, it will be. It'd be a big problem. But in this world, man, it's been some of the most craziest things that have happened in the past 3 months. This is why I loved Biden after Trump's first presidency. It wasn't even about Biden accomplishing one goal yet. It wasn't even about his promise of promising me one goal. That wasn't it. I told my friends and loved ones, I probably said it on social media, same thing, because this is what I felt. I was happy because under Trump, every day is hell. You won't go for the next 4 years without mentioning that fool's name. Because every day he'll do something fucked up. Then he'll fix it so they'll talk about him. Then he'll fuck something else up, they'll talk about him. Then he'll fix something that he fucked up, they'll talk about him. Every day it's about him. I don't know about you, but when I hear my name coming out of people's mouths a lot, I walk away from it. I don't want to hear all that. You got to be some extreme narcissist that wants to hear their name coming out of people's mouths, whether good or bad, every fucking day, more than once a day. And if they don't say anything about him in the day, he is out there tweeting some bullshit so you mention his name again. That is sick. That is sick. That you don't have one moment's peace and it's on purpose. His peace is destroying other people's peace. His joy is destroying other people's joy. Being the center of attention, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, if his name isn't mentioned. When Joe Biden came in, I promise you, just the peace he brought let me know one thing. I'm going to give him his way to do what he's going to do. I'm going to sit my ass back. If he makes any kind of move I don't like, I'll hear about it. But I can be on cruise control whenever a Democrat's in the office because they shut their fucking mouths and do their job. That's what I want as a leader. Shut your mouth and work. The things I want to hear from you is a little bit of nothing. I want to see you speak to me at the speeches that you got to give. State of the Union, that's when I want to hear from you. On a day-to-day basis, shut your fucking mouth. I don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear about every little move you made. The president farted. The president eats food. The president throws ketchup. The president eats eggs. The president, I don't give a fuck. Do your job and all this other bullshit. Tweet, Twitter, tweets. What? Shut up. Do your fucking job. That's all we ask. And with Trump, these idiots always want to hear his name in a cult. And they will tell you, you're a sheep. I'm like, dude, when Biden was in, I mentioned that fool's name, 30, 40 times because he did like 30 or 40 things in the press. Donald Trump is like 300 times in a fucking day. It's insane. Say, dude, just chill. Sit in the cut and do your job. But the thing is, his job is to disrupt. He is a disruptor in chief. Disrupt everybody's peace, disrupt everybody's happiness, disrupt everybody's finances, disrupt everybody's joy, disrupt everything. Don't let anybody have a moment's day of peace. I have always got to be either fucking something up and fixing it, or I ain't worth being a president. I ain't worth that. Every day, he is messing with people's lives, and people have got to defend it of some sort, because not saying anything is allowing him to take control of the narrative. And you have to be out there trying to give people hope or let them see the bullshittery that he's doing. It's like, that's bullshit. That ain't real. That's not factual. He just, on Fox, all they do is repeat and regurgitate the crap. And that's why the people who watch that network are almost always, if you talk to them, they're misguided. They have no freaking clue. I watched a video earlier today, came on my timeline, where a lady who used to be a Republican, who literally said, you know what? I believed in everything Trump said, but then, the finance thing kind of hit and started messing with them. But she said she had questions and doubts before then, because there were things that he did that, a friend of hers or somebody said something to her, and then she backed off and started reading it. The person said, read this, and she wouldn't do it. To the same situation that once she started learning, she spoke to a friend, and she did the same thing with her friend. Say, hey, look, just read what this says. Donald Trump, like he was talking about the Affordable Care Act. Because of Obamacare, a lot of these people would not even look at what the Obamacare was all about. They lied about Obamacare and said that it was going to make you get rid of your doctor, that your kids, if they were sick or handicapped or any kind of illness, that they weren't going to get taken care of. They were going to let your kid die. They were going to get rid of insurance and stuff like that for kids who are disabled or mentally disabled and all this other shit. None of them read it. They listened to Sean Hannity. They listened to Tucker Carlson. They listened to Janine Pirro. They listened to all these dipshits on air who never changed their story, who were racist as fuck, told everybody one thing, and this lady said she finally sat down and had the person read the fucking document, and it literally did everything she wanted. Her kid, mentally ill. It literally let her kid be on insurance till that child is 26, before they had to get off earlier. That was what she wanted. It was in the bill, but Fox never reported on it. There were at least 10 things in there that she wanted. Then she changed her mind on Obama and realized that Fox had been lying to her. Do you understand how many millions have yet to pick up and understand that Obama was for them and not against them, and that Donald Trump was against them and not for them? Getting rid of the insurance that would have put their kids that were mentally ill out on the streets or not protected. It's just sad. But I miss, Biden, Obama, Vera, because again, I had peace when they were in office. If you didn't watch Fox, all you heard was, we don't like the drone situation and killing everybody. Yeah, I get it. I don't like that either. What's the reason behind it? Blah, blah, blah. Are they being successful? Are they failing? Different things of that nature. But for the most part, they held his feet to the fire on things that they didn't like or didn't approve of. Things they did approve, they gave him accolades for it. All the other stations and networks, it was always Fox that pushed nothing but hate, and then tried to say that Donald Trump, that Obama was the most divisive president ever. I'm like, yo, you know who was divisive? Fox. You know who was divisive? Republicans. Donald Trump as well. While Obama was president, Obama was for all people. Healthcare was for all people, not just for black people. A lot of his bills helped all people. But racist white people, Republicans for the most part, went completely against 180, no matter what, not even researching what Obama was trying to do. Just listening to the racist TV stations and radio stations and podcasters and things of that nature, audio people, Rush Limbaugh's and all those people saying the most egregious, evil, racist, despicable things about Obama. So much so that they thought, a lot of them still do think, that Obamacare and ACA is different. They love the ACA. My ACA, just don't fuck with that. But that Obamacare's got to go. And you tell them they're racist, and they'll sit there, why are you racist? Why you say that? I mean, you're cool. You just said the most racist thing, bro. You just said you can't stand Obamacare, but you love ACA. Why don't you like Obamacare? Because it was a black man that did it. That's the reason why Fox didn't like it. So you're repeating the racist rant. Does that not make you a part of racism? That was racist. They did that for a reason. They painted his face, his black face, on a product that you hate, even though if you look under the hood, you love the product. You just hate the person who gave it to you. If that's not racism, I don't know what it is. Just because you're not aware, that you're too ignorant to realize that you're spewing hatred and racism because you were too ignorant to pay attention to how it came about. You think the Democrats came out with a derogatory name for their own people? These people are slow. People are slow. And being open-minded. Yes, I said what I said. Exactly. Some people are open-minded and listen. Other people are closed. And that's what I look at. I'm like, look, just look at the facts. Do research it, find out, get back at me. Because I want all of us to be on the same plane of facts. Now, you may not agree with the fact, not the fact, but have a good feeling about the fact. That's okay. But as long as we're both on the same fact, you can have your own feelings about facts. That's okay. But if I say 2 + 2 is 4, and it is, you can argue about how the 4 looks. You can argue about whether it's going to be, like, connected, or if it's going to be square. We can have a debate about that. But we both agree it's 4. How you write it is your own damn business. But we're both agreeing on it's 4. These fools see 2 + 2 and come out with 12, and they want to have a fight about it. I'm like, yo, that's not 12, that's 4. Well, that's your thing. That's your fact. That's your alternative fact. I'm like, no, that's just fact. You're just psycho. And you can't agree on anything because you want to be right even when you're wrong. That's a disease. You need to work on that. Get some medication for it. But we're on the right side of things, the fact side of things. And we have our opinion about the fact. But as long as we're both arguing the fact. You feel me? All right. I got to get out of here, go to my mental health show I do on TikTok. Starts probably in the next 10 minutes or so as I get ready. Give myself something to eat. But as always, I appreciate you guys coming in, listening, learning, sharing as well with me. I see what you guys. Thank you for any gifts you may have given, anything that you may have donated. I appreciate that. And I'll be back here again tomorrow around 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, doing the same thing, talking about the facts of the day, educating ourselves about things that we may not know about. And if you do, I'll listen and read some of your comments. I usually read them during the show or even after the show to get a better understanding of the people who follow me and subscribe. You can subscribe to my channel. You can do all the things. You get notifications, ring the bell, and you'll know when my next video will come out. And you can follow me on my other platforms of Mr. Straight Facts. I'm on Blue Sky. I have a Substack. I just wrote an article a couple of days ago. Released an article a couple of days ago, and that's about it. I appreciate you. What's up, Save Wit? I appreciate everybody here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. You guys have a safe evening. Much love to you. And as always, you know what I mean? Stay brilliant. And I'll see you guys when I see you.